Great. The 69th annual business meeting of the Society for Technical Communication will come to order. We ask all attendees to please mute your microphones and not share your cameras unless invited to join the meeting as a panelist. Welcome. I'm Kirsty Taylor, your 2021-2022 President and Presiding Officer for this meeting. As Chair, I'm pleased to introduce the officers and guests who appear on video for this meeting. Isa Moyna, Vice President, Bobby Werner, Treasurer, Timothy Esposito, Secretary, Craig Baer, Immediate Past President, Liz Poland, Chief Executive Officer, Erin Galilee, Director of Membership and Community Relations, and Donald Garrett, Parliamentarian. Mr. Garrett is a professional registered parliamentarian certified by the National Association of Parliamentarians. He will serve as parliamentarian and will assist any motions that were submitted in advance of the meeting. I'd now like to introduce the timekeeper and meeting moderator. Liz Poland will serve as timekeeper. Per the meeting rules, the timekeeper will give a 5-minute warning before 6:30 p.m. Eastern when we're scheduled to adjourn. She will also give members 2-minute warnings when they request to speak for or against a motion per the business meeting rules. Erin Galilee will serve as meeting moderator and will assist with the polling feature for motions, as well as promoting individuals to panelists to share their cameras when called upon. The first item of business is the credentials report. The Chair recognises Secretary Timothy Esposito.
Every member in good standing and attending this meeting is eligible to vote. All attendees were required to pre-register to join the meeting, and a list of pre-registered members has been validated with the members in attendance at the meeting. I move that this list of delegates be the official roll of the voting members.
The question is on the adoption of the credentials report. This vote will be conducted through the polling feature in Zoom. Due to the electronic nature of this meeting, we'll vote through the polling feature in Zoom. Additionally, any member who wishes to seek recognition or debate should use the chat feature to get the Chair's attention by typing a message to everyone, such as, "I want to speak in favour," or "I have a point of order." In the interest of transparency for all in attendance, please don't send me private messages during the meeting because that will just be too much to handle. So having a clear visible comment, "I want to speak in favour," or "I have a point of order" in the chat window will be really helpful to me. Erin, will you please post the first motion? Those in favour of adopting the credentials report vote in favour. Those opposed to adopting the credentials report vote opposed. Liz, have the votes been counted yet?
They are still coming in. Let's
give
another few seconds. Okay, I think it looks like it's slowed down.
Okay. Polling for the motion is now closed. Erin, please share the results. Thank you. The motion carries and the credentials report is adopted. Close. The Chair recognises Dr. Beth Bailey. I assume your comment in the chat was testing. "I want to speak in favour," as this is a pretty straightforward motion on the floor. Thank you, Beth. Okay, a quorum has not been established as there are 59 members in attendance today. Per the STC bylaws, a quorum is the lesser of 100 voting members or 1/10 of the total number of members entitled to vote. Because there are fewer than 100 members in attendance, quorum is not currently present. We will proceed with reports and presentations that do not require action from the body and then take another account of the attendance prior to new business. In the event a quorum is not present during new business, the votes, while technically not binding, as I advised earlier, will still be taken under advisement by the Board of Directors. The next item of business is a review of new business meeting rules. STC is incorporated in the state of New York. A revised New York state law gives the STC Board of Directors sole discretion to determine that meetings of members be held partially or solely by means of electronic communication. Further, any member's electronic participation in such meetings shall be subject to those guidelines and procedures as the board adopts. The STC Board of Directors voted to approve the business meeting rules at a meeting on April 21st. The business meeting rules were sent to all members via electronic mail and have been provided on the STC website. And Erin Galilee has posted a link in the chat, and she's just posted a link again. Therefore, we will forego reading the meeting rules aloud. The next item of business is the adoption of the business meeting agenda. A copy of the agenda was sent to all members via electronic mail and has also been provided on the STC website. Are there any questions or corrections to the agenda? Please type a message to the chair in the chat window if you wish to be recognised. Okay, seeing no messages, the question is on the adoption of the agenda. This vote will be conducted through the polling feature. Erin, will you please post the motion? All those in favour of adopting the meeting agenda, vote in favour. Those opposed to adopting the meeting agenda, vote opposed. Liz, are the votes still coming in?
No, it looks like it's up.
Okay. Polling for the motion is now closed. Erin, please share the results. Thank you. The motion carries and the agenda is adopted. As specified in the STC bylaws and meeting rules, the Board of Directors shall correct and approve the minutes of this business meeting. The next item of business is the report of officers and committees. The first report is the President's report. All right, thank you everyone. More of me. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the country on which I live and am joining you all from, the Jagera and the Turrbal peoples, and their name for this place is Meanjin. Thank you again for allowing me to be the first Antipodean president of STC. It's been an honour and a privilege to serve our professional association with you. I continue to believe that the power of STC is in our people, our members, our volunteers, our staff, our CEO. Last year, I said that STC is every interaction we have together, and that continues to be the case, both good, bad, frustrating, enlightening, caring, helpful, direct. We're all humans and we're all trying to serve our profession and help each other. Sometimes we work together like a beautiful harmony, and other times it can be like clanging cymbals. While we're all technical communicators, we are diverse in our backgrounds, accents, communication styles, beliefs, and so many ways. I said I'd try to focus on 4 C's: consolidation, continuity, change, and community. I'd like to thank the committee and task force chairs who I asked to continue in their roles or to step up into new roles and volunteer in a way they had not done previously. Continuity in some areas and change in others allowed growth and development and new volunteers to be involved. I'd like to particularly thank Dr. Jackie Damrau and Ms. Bethany Aguad for co-chairing the Education Committee this year. Not only has this committee helped STC members in their continuing professional development, but they've increased a vital source of revenue when other sources of revenue have been shrinking. Some communities have consolidated and merged, others are contemplating merging. This is a change and can seem sad when we think of what was, but we have to look to the future and find energy and promise in what can be as our society moves forward in a different era. I'd like to thank the Community Affairs Committee, including Chair Anne-Marie Queenie, but the whole committee for their hard work and ongoing support and encouragement for all communities. As an isolated member far away from others, I've really enjoyed the community of STC members in Slack, and I hope to see more of you join us there. I'm also looking forward to the new online educational event that we're planning later this year, and you'll find out more about in due course. An exciting new initiative in the past 6 or so months has been the knowledge exchange sessions held each month for prospective members, people new to the industry, or even for those of us who've been around for a year or 20. These sessions have been really well received, and it's been a great initiative that came from our lovely staff. This has been another tricky year for STC. We ended the year in a decent financial state, but with increased liabilities. We continue to be very careful about expenses, but we'll need to make more changes to ensure our society's future. There are various things I wish had been different this past year, and I want to acknowledge that, but I'm grateful to all of you and all the work that you've put in for the society. Thank you to all of our volunteers who've worked in communities, on committees, reviewed conference proposals, submitted articles for Intercom, encouraged other members, or any of the myriad of activities that make STC a wonderful professional community. Thank you. Thank you to the STC staff, particularly Elaine Gilliam and Erin Galilee. Thank you, Liz Poland, our CEO. It's been really great to work with you this year. And thank you to my board for your service, energy, and ideas. I look forward to seeing many of you in Rosemont in a few weeks, learning, celebrating, and recognising awards and honours. If I don't see you there, I look forward to seeing you online. Thank you, everyone. STC's Treasurer, Bobby Werner, will now give the financial report.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Hello, everyone. The auditor's report on the financial statements for 2021 was approved by the STC board at its meeting on Thursday, April 21st, 2022. The Society's income tax submission for the past year, as well as the minutes of this meeting, including this report, will be available for members on the STC website. Audited financials. The opinion of the auditing firm, Wegner CPAs LLP, is that the Society's financial statements for 2021 present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the Society and the changes in its net assets and cash flows in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. The Society ended the year 2021 with total assets of $864,405 and total liabilities of $1,213,992. Assets at fiscal year end include $253,074 in cash, investments totaling $570,387, a student scholarship fund totaling $7,067, plus a variety of other assets. Liabilities include a line of credit of $244,517, various accrued expenses and deferred revenue, and a low-interest economic injury disaster loan. In response to cash flow challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Society applied for and received a $150,000 economic injury disaster loan from the United States Small Business Administration in June of 2020. In August of 2021, the Society applied for and received an additional $350,000 EIDL loan, or Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the US SBA, bringing the total principal of that loan to $500,000. A portion of this loan was used to reduce our line of credit balance by $79,437. In addition, the SBA Paycheck Protection Program loan was approved in May 2021 and then forgiven by the US SBA in August 2021, reducing liabilities by $62,499. Membership revenues for 2021 totaled $615,953, falling $14,047 below budget. We continue to look for membership to stabilize and grow. Thanks to all of you who continue to support and recognize the value of STC. Total 2021 revenue for Summit and other educational offerings was $472,350. While Summit revenue fell short of budget by $44,130, reductions in conference expenses yielded a positive change in net assets for Summit of $48,679. Education revenue exceeded budget by $23,535 and surpassed 2020 revenue by $58,809. I'd like to echo what Kirsty said before and recognize the Education Committee and staff for significantly increasing education-related revenue while helping STC serve the membership. One unanticipated deficit to STC's bottom line was a nearly $109,000 shortfall in advertising revenue. Early in 2021, STC's management partner, Association Headquarters, canceled the provision in its contract to secure advertisers and sponsorships outside of the summit. The STC CEO and board continue to investigate ways to restore this advertising and sponsorship revenue. To summarize overall financial activity, total support and revenue from operations for the year was $1,236,289, which fell below the budgeted amount by $121,511. Total expenses for operations were $1,278,775. Let me say that again. Total expenses for operations were $1,278,775. Thanks to effective cash flow management, no investment funds were used for cash flow purposes. The Society incurred a net operating loss of $101,720 for fiscal year 2021. As of December 31st, 2021, the Society had a net deficit without donor restrictions of a negative $356,654. Though a significant net deficit, this represents an improvement over 2020 net deficit by a positive $20,786. Investment performance. During the year, the Society reviewed its investment portfolio to ensure that it maintained a moderate profile and aligned with the asset allocation for equities, fixed income funds, and cash equivalents specified in our investment policy. The investment portfolio balance increased in 2021 by $60,006 to end the year 2021 at a value of $570,387. The average return on investments was a positive 11.8% over the calendar year. Auditor concerns. In addition to the net deficit shared earlier, Wagner CPAs made two additional recommendations. A new lease accounting standard has been released that will require some changes in the way STC recognizes lease assets on our financial statements. A formalized procedure for monitoring communities, especially chapters, will help STC to ensure compliance with nonprofit laws and regulations, reduce potential financial risk, and help ensure the overall health of the extended organization. To date, the Community Budget Review Committee's review of annual budget requests, as well as the Society's receipt and review of annual reports and 990 filings, provided a degree of oversight. The new Community Audits Initiative launched earlier this year, which will audit STC communities on a quarterly basis, will provide the additional formal monitoring the audit report recommends. I thank all of the community leaders in advance for your cooperation during these audits. Closing. To close my first report to the membership as STC Treasurer, I would like to acknowledge CEO Liz Poland and the STC staff for controlling expenses and creating operational efficiency in 2021. I also want to thank the rest of the board, as well as Jim Bousquet, my predecessor, for their support and patience as I continue to learn this new role. This concludes my report. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Bobby. Are there any questions for the Treasurer? If so, please post your questions in the chat window to be recognised by the Chair. The Chair recognises Lara Tellis. So I think, Lara, if you can post your question in the chat. How many members of STC do we have currently?
I defer to Liz Poland to answer that question.
And I will refrain from deferring to Erin Galilee, Director of Membership. I can't give you the exact figure. Obviously, the number changes every day as more members come in, but it's over 2,200 members currently.
Okay. And the Chair recognises Jack Molisani. Why are all chapters being audited? Oh, well, Bobby, if you want to answer this, I can, or you can.
It's an interesting question to ask, but I think if we look at the recommendation from Wagner CPAs, they recognize that as a gap in our oversight, that we should in fact be looking more closely at the chapters. To clarify the scope of the audits, we will be selecting a handful of chapters at a time to audit, and we'll work our way through the entire collection of chapters, but it's part of our responsibility to ensure that chapters are operating properly, that they have the right governance in place, that standard bookkeeping practices are, appropriate for those communities, that, everything is operating as it should. So again, it's just trying to exercise due diligence.
And I would also comment, as someone who operates as an internal auditor for various ISO standards for my company, the goal of audits is not to find naughty people or people doing things wrong. It's more to ensure consistency with procedures and processes. Rather, we're not trying to find out naughty people with that process. That's really not the aim of it. It's only to try to find gaps and then help communities move forward. And there has been variability that the community budgeting process has shown over the years in the consistency and level of information we receive from various communities. So this is another way just to actually try to help people. I see from the chat, it looks like the question about the numbers of members has been answered, and a few other comments. I'm not currently seeing any other questions for the Treasurer.
There was a question about the year-end reports being a basis for oversight. And I can comment on that to say that those financial reports provide a lot of information, but not always all the information you need to ensure that the chapters are functioning properly. So again, this gives us another way to ensure that everything that should be in place is in place, and to acknowledge that across the organization, but also find ways to intervene and help as needed.
And I see a question from Marilyn Welk about clarifying to understand if it was auditing every chapter quarterly. I don't believe that's the intention. It's more that quarterly some chapters will be audited. It's not everyone every quarter. No volunteer has that much time. Okay, I'm seeing no other questions. The Treasurer's report will be filed for audit. So the next item of business is introducing the outgoing board. Would the 2021-2022 Board of Directors please come on video to be recognised? Okay, I'd especially like to thank our outgoing board members, Craig Bear, immediate past president, Todd DeLuca, director, and Anne-Marie Queenie, director. Thank you all for your significant service to STC. You can stop sharing your video now. The next item of business is the report of the nominating committee. I now recognise Craig Bear, the chair of the nominating committee, who will present the results of the election.
Of 1,705 eligible voters, 214 votes were cast, which is approximately 13% of the total voters. There were some abstentions for each office. Votes were cast through a secure third-party software provided by IntelliScan, which certifies the election results are accurate and confidential. All STC election rules were strictly adhered to, and all necessary internal controls were in place to ensure the accuracy and integrity of the voting. For the office of President, Vice President Isa Moina automatically ascends to the office of President. For the office of Vice President, one candidate was nominated. By your vote, Timothy Esposito was elected Vice President with 209 votes. For the office of Secretary, two candidates were nominated. Leanne Rathbun received 110 votes. Paula Robertson received 102 votes. By your vote, Leanne Rathbun was elected Secretary. For the office of Director, two candidates were nominated for two positions. Lori Meyer received 189 votes. Danielle Villegas received 186 votes. By your vote, Lori Meyer and Daniel Villegas were elected directors. For the office of nominating committee, 3 candidates were nominated for 2 positions. Shayla Corprew received 125 votes. Kylie Jacobson received 143 votes. Miranda Studevant received 140 votes. By your vote, Kylie Jacobson and Miranda Studevant were elected to the nominating committee. Thank you to all members who voted in the election. I would especially like to recognize the 2021-2022 nominating committee members and thank them for their efforts on behalf of the membership. You are now each being promoted to panelists and may come on camera to be recognized. Okay, I think that's everyone. The Society's appreciation goes to David Caruso, Liz Herman, Christina Mayer, and Jack Molisani. Thank you again for your service. You may stop sharing your video now.
Thank you, Craig. It's now my pleasure to welcome and install the 2022-2023 Board of Directors. The Chair declares the following to have been duly elected to office and fully installed. You are each being promoted to panelist and may come on camera now to be recognised. Isa Moina, President. Timothy Esposito, Vice President. Bobby Werner, Treasurer. Liat Rathbun, Secretary. Lori Meyer, Laura Palmer, Shri Padabiraman, and Danielle Villegas, Directors. And me. Thank you all. You can stop sharing your videos now. I'd also like to congratulate the 2022-2023 nominating committee members, and I look forward to working with you as the next nominating committee chair. You're each being promoted to panelist and may come on camera now to be recognised. It's so much easier in a room where we can all just stand upright, but thank you so much, Erin, and everyone for organising and your patience through these moments. David Caruso, Kylie Jacobson, Jack Molisani, and Miranda Studevant. On behalf of the Society for Technical Communication, I extend congratulations to each of you, and you can stop your video sharing now. It's now my pleasure to invite the 2022-2023 STC President, our STC President, Isa Moina, to address the membership.
All right, thank you, Kirsty. As incoming president, my role is to look forward to the coming year, and I'll do that in a moment. But first, I want to look back at the past year and thank Kirsty for her service as STC president during a challenging time. Most of us never expected the global pandemic to continue for a year, much less 2 years and counting. It has taken a toll on many, both physically and mentally. But throughout the past year, Kirsty has remained focused on the society, our members, and others involved in technical communication. She committed to being a transparent leader, and she has done just that. Through her regular columns in Intercom and frequent activity on Slack and social media, Kirsty has engaged the STC audience practically on a daily basis and has been a visible, accessible representative of the society. And she did it from Australia, many miles and multiple time zones away from those of us in Europe and North America. She has been a role model of dedicated leadership, and I ask you to join me in thanking her for her service. Now I would like to look back a little further to 1953. In Asia, Mount Everest was summited successfully for the first time. In Europe, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II took place. And in the United States, the Society of Technical Writers and the Association of Technical Writers and Editors were founded. A few years later, they would merge to form the Society of Technical Writers and Editors, which eventually would be renamed the Society for Technical Communication. That means that in a few months, we will mark the 70th anniversary year of STC, and just over a year from now, we'll host our 70th annual conference in Atlanta, and that is something to look forward to. It's hard to predict what the coming year holds for any of us, but from an STC perspective, there are a few things you can count on, including top-notch educational offerings, from one-hour webinars to multi-day conferences to multi-week courses. The ongoing expansion of our certification program, which already offers foundation and practitioner levels with expert level certification coming soon. Information and opportunities to publish in our award-winning publications on our website and in our body of knowledge. A range of honors and awards recognizing achievements in the field of technical communication. A scholarship program and other activities for students to help prepare the next generation to step into roles as technical communicators and educators. Networking opportunities to help those who are new to our field find out about the career options available and learn from the experience of those of us who've been working in the field for a while. Programs, conferences, competitions, and communications driven by our chapters and special interest groups. Training and support for our community leaders offered through the Community Affairs Committee. And a renewed focus on securing the financial future of our organization by creating new offerings for our members and others involved in the profession of technical communication. There will be challenges along the way, there always are, but I'm looking forward to working with the STC board, staff, and our entire membership to build on our past success and build for the future. It will take all of us working together, and with that in mind, I'm especially interested in hearing from you. You can share your suggestions and questions with the entire board anytime by writing to board@stc.org, and I hope you will. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the coming year brings. Thank you.
Thank you, Isa. The next item on the agenda is business from the 2021 annual meeting. The 2021 meeting minutes were approved by the board and are available for review on the STC website. At the 2021 annual business meeting, held virtually on June 15th, there were no motions referred to the Board of Directors. We will now move on to new business. Since a quorum is not present during new business, votes on motions, while technically not binding, will still be taken under advisement by the Board of Directors. Pursuant to the meeting rules, only motions that were submitted in advance of the meeting can be considered. We will also invite the member who put forth a motion to speak in favour of the motion. Please state your name and any STC community affiliation you have when you read your motion. You will be limited to 2 minutes. I'll now read the new business from the voting members. We received one motion before the meeting. Erin Galilee will promote the person who submitted the motion to panelists to read the motion and rationale. Our motion was submitted by Lara Tellis. Erin, will you please promote Lara to panelist and read the motion she submitted? To read the motion she submitted.
Hello, I believe I've been promoted to panelist.
You have.
Do I have to find the motions? Just a second.
I can, oh no, let me see, I can copy it into the chat for you.
I know the gist, but not the exact wording.
I've put it in the chat for you.
Okay, yes. So Lara Tellis, I am a immediate past president of the STC South Central Texas chapter, we merged Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, and we have virtual events, so we take people from all sorts of regions. Also a member of the technical editing SIG. I believe that's a community of interest now, or a community practice. I get them confused. But anyway, I moved that the board consider recording all sessions for the STC annual summit so that they can be made available for free to people who attended the summit and be sold to people who are unable to attend. The rationale.
Okay. Right, hang on, just a minute.
Sorry.
Just a minute. Okay, thank you, Lara, for your motion. Do I have a second? If so, please type second in the chat. Thank you. The motion has been seconded. Lara, would you like to speak for the motion? You will have 2 minutes.
Yes, I believe that my rationale is that many cannot afford to attend the summit. In addition, we are still in a global pandemic. And mask requirements have just been lifted on airplanes. So people who are immunocompromised or may have some sort of medical disability will not feel comfortable traveling and attending large gatherings. So I feel that the virtual option is really necessary to accommodate members with disabilities and members who don't have the funds to attend the summit. And that's about it. I believe that's fairly self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you, Lara. We will now allow 2 members to speak in favour of the motion and 2 members to speak against the motion for up to 2 minutes each. Please write a message to everyone in the chat window if you wish to speak, and we will promote members in the order of request. Please type a message such as, I want to speak in favour or I want to speak against. And then please state your name and any STC community affiliation you have before you speak to the motion. The chair recognises Michael Opsteig. Erin, can you please promote Michael to panelist so that he can speak?
Hello, thank you. My name is Michael Opsteig. I am a member of the Orange County chapter and the Texas Tech student chapter. I'd like to speak in favor of this motion because unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the summit this year, and my heart is broken because I have to go to Texas Tech for 2 weeks, and it always or often overlaps with the summit. A lot of academic quarters and semesters overlap with the summit, and I'd like to be able to maintain those bridges and those connections with the academic community, and having a virtual option would help with that. That's
Thank you, Michael. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak either in favour or against the motion? Okay, I have a second person wanting to speak for the motion. The chair recognises MK Gruneberg. Erin, can you please promote MK to panelist so that she can speak to the motion?
MK Gruenberg, STC Chicago, host community for the summit. And even though I'm here and don't have to travel, I am immunocompromised, and I have the same concerns about the safety of it this year. A lot of, with the mask mandates and everything, a lot of people seem to think that we're past this pandemic, and we aren't. And so even though I even live here, there are some things and some events that I will not be attending just due to numbers of people and, medical status. So I really think it would be good for the educational sessions to be made available for people who either cannot afford it or because of medical reasons just cannot attend. So.
Thank you, MK. Okay, we've had 2 members speak for the motion. So far, I've seen no one who wanted to speak against the motion. Okay, thank you. Everyone can stop sharing their cameras now. That's already been done, or everyone who spoke for the motion.
It looks like Danielle would like to speak against.
Okay, thank you, Lara. All right, Danielle, the chair recognises Danielle Villegas. Erin, could you please promote Danielle to panelist? You're muted, Danielle.
Sorry about that. It was hard enough getting the video on. Sorry about that. I'm Danielle Villegas. I'm outgoing acting president of the Philadelphia chapter. I'm incoming STC board director. The reason I'm speaking out against it is something that was brought up in the chat. We're talking about extra expenses that would be involved in recording a lot of those events. It's already expensive enough to try to run the conference in person. So to add additional AV requirements to that, part of this is having to do with, just trying to watch our money. So, I think maybe it requires maybe a closer look at whether that's a worthwhile investment. Yes, we may have made more money or did better with virtual attendance, but I think a closer look at whether it's really profitable to invest in those AV items during the conference so we can sell it later is really the right way to be spending our money. So that's my only point towards that. Thank you.
And the chair, thank you, Danielle. The chair recognises Miranda Studement to speak against. Erin, can you please promote Miranda to panelist?
Hi, thanks. I appreciate the spirit of the motion and wanting to be inclusive and wanting to be sure that people have access to elements of the summit. But in addition to the cost benefits analysis in terms of wanting to know about the feasibility of the additional expense, I think probably my biggest rub is with all of the sessions. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is just the overhead that's involved, just from a logistical cost and AV perspective, to provide the additional cameras and mics. It does change the nature both of what presenters have to do and also what the experience is. I do think that there is a significant difference between an event that's completely virtual and one that's hybrid. So as it stated in the chat, that means that there are additional expenses considerably when you're doing the hybrid as opposed to all of one or the other. The other thing, honestly, has to do with just the intimacy of the STC Summit gathering and the fact that there are certain conversations or comments. If someone is talking about a particular situation in their workplace, they may not necessarily want to have that covered and documented and then recorded out, and not being sure who might be in the audience and who would consume that content later. The parliamentarian can keep me honest, but I think in the future we should consider, perhaps as a standard, offering the keynote speaker, like the keynote address, or some of the larger events or the ones where we are gathered as an entire group, as opposed to every single breakout session and offering. And that might be a good way that we could have an offering that would give people a feel for what occurred and who the key speakers were at the summit, but not necessarily the expense involved with trying to capture everything. And I do see some of the comments in the chat regarding quality, it assumes a whole lot about people being familiar with using those technologies. It has to do with formatting and video quality. It's more than just doing what we would normally do in the workplace to record a session.
Okay. Thank you, Miranda. Thank you, everyone who spoke for and against this motion, and thank you, Lara, for the motion. You can stop sharing your cameras now. The question is on adopting the motion, which will be displayed via the polling feature on the screen. Erin, will you please post the poll for this motion? Those in favour of adopting the motion presented, vote in favour. Those opposed to adopting the motion, vote opposed. We can, MK, as a point of order, we can still vote, but the votes are not binding. Okay, I will repeat the motion. The motion is move that the board consider recording all sessions for the STC Annual Summit so that they can be made available for free to people who attended the summit and be sold to people who are unable to attend. Melissa, as a point, it is always voting for the board to consider with an STC annual business meeting in the way the STC governance and bylaws are set up. A member can propose a motion for the board to consider. A member cannot direct the board or the STC staff to take a particular action.
Okay, Kirsty, I think you have the majority of the votes in.
Okay, thank you. Polling for the motion is now closed. Erin, please share the results. Thank you, everyone. 48% have voted in favour, 52% have voted opposed. The motion does not carry. However, given the motions brought forward are non-binding, but it has been the practice of the Board of Directors, at least in the years that I have been on the Board of Directors, that we consider any motions presented to us, even if they have been deemed out of order or have not passed. We've always considered them. As an extra comment, one of the considerations as we've been preparing for the STC Summit this year and preparing for an in-person event is considering that we have an online educational event. I mentioned it very briefly in my President's address, but we are planning an online only educational event later this year because we acknowledge that that might be something that many members might either feel more comfortable with or find more accessible avenue. So that is something we're considering. But further to that, and that this is the new board will consider this and consider where they want to go forward. So I just wanted to address that point while we're here. And since there is no further business, the 2022 annual business meeting is adjourned.